This week's 48 Hours looks at the puzzling death of a wife of a prominent fertility doctor. Dr. Eric Scott Sills called 911 to report finding his wife and business partner Suzanne unresponsive at the bottom of the stairs in their California home. The initial investigation into Suzanne's injuries found some evidence they could be consistent with an accidental fall. However, the manner of her death was later ruled a homicide by strangulation. Dr. Sills became the prime suspect, and his defense attorney is arguing that the family dogs may have played a role in her death. Correspondent Tracy Smith on the unusual theory.
It was a Sunday morning, November 13th, 2016, when Dr. Eric Scott Sills reported that his wife had tripped and fallen on the staircase after suffering from a migraine.
She's had one for 3 days.
Minutes later, 45-year-old Suzanne Sills was declared dead at the scene.
Suzanne had injuries to pretty much her whole body.
Orange County Sheriff's homicide detectives Eric Hatch and Dave Holloway were called to conduct a death investigation.
The deputy coroner, during her preliminary body exam of Suzanne, the injuries weren't consistent with somebody falling down the stairs.
Her neck had a pretty pronounced ligature mark.
The Sills' daughter, Mary Catherine, told detectives her mother had a scarf around her neck when she was discovered that morning.
Is it possible that she could have fallen down the stairs and then somehow the scarf strangled her?
Could have caught on a banister, but we didn't have any evidence of that.
But in Mary Catherine's room, where Suzanne had stayed that night to rest, something raised suspicion.
You found blood.
Yes.
In November 2017, Suzanne's cause of death was cited as ligature strangulation and the manner, homicide. Dr. Scott Sills was now the prime suspect. But defense attorney Jack Early says there are two other possible culprits: the family dogs.
Mary Kate saw the dogs pulling on the scarf.
He suggested that Suzanne fell on the stairs and that the dogs then tugged on the scarf that was wrapped around her neck.
Do you honestly think that the dogs pulled hard enough to strangle her to death?
No, that was not the main theory.
Instead, Early focused on another injury identified in Suzanne's autopsy, a fractured vertebra in her neck, which would have left Suzanne incapacitated.
Their breathing is compromised. If they're then choked, it doesn't take much to kill them.
Tracy Smith joins us now. Quite a theory there. Tracy, good morning. Were they ever able to identify whose blood was in the daughter's room?
Yes, so there was blood on the curtains, on the nightstand, and on the wall, and when they tested it for DNA, they found Scott Sills' DNA in all three of those places, and on the wall there was a mixture of Scott and Suzanne's DNA, so investigators think maybe a fight happened there.
How did Dr. Sills explain all that blood?
At first he said he was unaware of it, and then when they confronted him with the DNA results, he said, oh, he was changing a window screen and he cut himself.
Wow, lots of questions. This is going to be quite a report. Tracy Smith, thank you very much. You can watch Tracy's full report, and you're going to want to. It's called The Puzzling Death of Suzanne Sills on 48 Hours tomorrow night, 10/9 Central here on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.